Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we break down the financial wizardry of big companies. And today we're diving into Spirit Aviation Holdings Inc., the airline that prides itself on ultra-low fares, but is their latest financial report a smooth ride, or are we looking at some turbulence? Alright, buckle up folks, because we're about to dissect Spirit's latest quarterly report, filed at the beginning of August 2025. Now Spirit Airlines has been going through a major transformation, emerging from bankruptcy in March 2025. This report gives us our first real look at their financial health post-reorganization, and let's just say the story here is complex. First off, the big picture for the 3 months ending June 30th, 2025 shows a net loss of a whopping $245.8 million. Ouch. That's on top of revenues of about $1 billion. Now, remember, they just came out of bankruptcy, so losses are not entirely unexpected, but this is a significant number. Looking at where that revenue came from, passenger revenue was the main driver at just over $1 billion, with other revenues bringing in about $19 million. This is down significantly from the previous year's second quarter, where they pulled in nearly $1.3 billion in revenue. That's a 20% drop in revenue year over year, which is quite a hit. Now let's talk about costs. Adjusted CASM ex fuel, which is basically their operating cost per seat mile excluding fuel, jumped to 8.77 cents. Last year it was just 7.36 cents. That's a nearly 20% increase in their core operating costs when you take fuel out of the equation. The company blames this on higher salaries, wages and benefits, aircraft rent and lower aircraft utilization due to engine issues they're having with Pratt & Whitney. Speaking of utilization, their average daily aircraft utilization dropped from 10.6 hours in the second quarter of 2024 down to just 7.8 hours. In the same period this year, that's a massive 26% drop. Think about it this way, each plane is sitting on the ground for almost 3 extra hours a day. That's a huge drain on resources and efficiency. They're flying fewer planes and using the ones they have less. And this leads to a really critical point highlighted in their going concern disclosure. Management is pretty upfront here. They have substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern within the next 12 months. This is a serious red flag. They're talking about needing to sell aircraft and real estate, cut costs, and they're even in discussions with their credit card processor about posting additional collateral which could seriously shrink their available cash. Looking at their balance sheet as of March 12, 2025, before the fresh start counting was applied, they had over $1.6 billion in liabilities, subject to compromise. This is a direct result of their bankruptcy. They've restructured a lot of this, but it shows the scale of the financial challenges they've been navigating. Management changes also afoot. Ted Christie stepped down as CEO in April and David Davis took the helm. This is pretty common after a bankruptcy, bringing in new leadership to guide the reorganized company. They've also implemented new incentive plans and employment agreements, which is standard in this kind of transition. Now, for some of the debt details, they issued $840 million in exit, secured notes due in 2025. These notes had a carrying value of over $850 million. The interest rate on these is pretty hefty, a base rate of 12% per annum or 11% if they pay it all in cash. That's a significant cost of borrowing. So what's the story here? Spirit Airlines has emerged from bankruptcy and definitely made some moves to stabilize. They've got new leadership, new financing, and they've restructured their debt. However, the financial results for the second quarter of 2025 are pretty grim. The 20% drop in revenue, coupled with a nearly 20% rise in core costs, puts them in a tough spot. The low aircraft utilization and the explicit warning about being a going concern are major concerns while they're implementing strategies to improve things like new premium options and cost reductions. The market conditions like weak leisure travel demand and high capacity are still major headwinds. They need to execute perfectly on their turnaround plan to avoid further financial distress. It's a high-risk, high-reward situation right now. They need to prove they can right-size their operations and capture market share with their new strategy. Alright, that's our breakdown of Spirit's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.